Right, the time is 1:03 and I am calling the Napa Valley Transportation Authority Tax Agency meeting to order. And first off, we'll have our Pledge of Allegiance. So if you'll all stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, excellent. And now is there any board members participating remotely?
There are none.
Okay, good. Then I'd ask for a roll call.
Scott Sedgley, Bernie Narvaez, Liz Alessio, Amber Manfree, Mark Joseph,
Here.
Pierre Washington, Margie Moeller, Robin McKee, Paul Doring,
Here.
Michelle Deasy, here, Donald Williams, Kevin Eisenberg.
Present.
We do have a quorum.
Perfect. First, we'll adopt the agenda. We have some consent items and a couple of regulars. If I don't hear any objections, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved. Paul Doring.
Second.
Perfect. And seconded by Liz Alessio. I think this can just be a verbal vote. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And we apologize, the public wasn't given an opportunity to weigh in on the agenda, but we'll let you have this next moment, which is public comment. Any members of the public wishing to comment on anything not on the agenda? All right, then we'll just move on to chairperson and board members' updates. I don't have any. Does any of the board members have any updates? Then we'll move on to the executive director's updates. We're going to hang on to all the good stuff for the next meeting. With that in mind, I'll entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda.
So moved.
All right, Director Alessio moved.
Second, Sedgley.
Sedgley has seconded. Any public comments before we take a vote on it? If anybody wanted to pull a consent item? Okay, then I'll have all those in favor of approving the consent agenda items as submitted, say aye. Any opposed? All right. Just for people who don't always pay attention to these meetings, this is a little more of a perfunctory board meeting than the juicier authority meeting. So that's why we're going through quickly. On to regular items. 10.1, annual financial statement with independent auditor's report for the years ending June 30th, 2024 and 2023, and compliance and performance audit report for the County of Napa and the City of St. Helena. Tony, you are on.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Antonio Honorado, and I am the Director of Finance for the Napa Valley Transportation Authority. We have a presentation that we're going to present here momentarily, but we will essentially go over it. So for this item, staff is asking for the board to accept and file the annual financial statement with independent auditor's report for the years ending June 30th, 2024 and 2023, the management letter to the board of directors from the auditors, and the compliance and performance audits reports for the County of Napa and the City of St. Helena. So waiting for the presentation. Don't have a copy of it while it's going up, but I think you have a copy of it in your attachments.
Part of
right?
the
Okay.
package, yeah.
So I can read it off of memory at this point. So for the first slide, this provides actually a financial overview of the revenues and expenditures over the last 3 audit years. Just to provide a little bit of context, since the inception of Measure T in July 2018, we're running on 6 years now, going on into our 7th, 5 years going into our 6th, actually. From July 2018 to June 2024, In those 6 years, Measure T revenues have come in at $150 million, of which 99% has been passed through the jurisdictions. Just a little bit of a fun fact, the first year of Measure T revenues, $16.3 million. This past year, we're at $25.2 million. And that's a 54% increase in tax generations over the life of the measure. The audit itself is for the last 2 fiscal years, ending in 2024 and 2023. I also included in this table right here, 2022, just to provide a little bit of context over a 3-year period, instead of just over the 2-year audit period. Even though revenues suffered a slight dip of a little over 1% in 2024, it was the second consecutive years that total revenues were over $25 million, which does reflect that even with the macroeconomic challenges over the past year and a half, the Napa County economic engine has shown a lot of resiliency. As for the expenditures, the admin expenses had a bump in 2024, and those were related to the Measure U polling and the Measure U financial modeling. And that's why you see a bump from 2023 of about $166,000 for admin costs up to $426,000. And then also what's reflected in those admin costs are independent taxpayer oversight committee expenses, such as for the audits, as well as some printing costs for reports and public information that we provide to the public. The net position at the end of the year is an accumulated balance of the NVTA admin department and the ITOC. So basically 99% of the revenues are passed through the jurisdictions, and what's left over is for the NVTA admin as well as ITOC accumulated balance, cash balances. Next slide, please. This is basically a snapshot of the revenues received on a jurisdictional basis, and shows a projection from the progression from the last fiscal year, 2024, over a 5-year period. I wanted to include all 6 years, but the font started getting smaller, and I know that people there've been complaints about small fonts at this meeting, so I wanted to make it presentable for your perspective. But it shows you that really nearly every year since 2020, except for this last year, that revenues have been gradually increasing. And then we just had a very small reduction in the last fiscal year as well. Next slide, please. So simply you can read the audit findings, as well as the management discussion and analysis in the attachment itself. We will go ahead and go over to the compliance and performance audits for the County of Napa and the City of St. Helena. For those new members of the board, for the compliance and performance audits, it's on a triennial basis. Every 2 years, 2 jurisdictions are audited for both compliance to the ordinance as well as project compliance for projects, a performance audit for projects. These are the 8 areas that the auditors review for the compliance and performance measures. And simply put, I'm just pleased to say that the city and the county of Napa and the City of St. Helena have complied in all material aspects with the compliance and performance audits. Basically, it was a clean audit for both jurisdictions. This is their second audit since the inception of the measure, so this is not their first rodeo. They knew exactly how to respond. It was still the same people in those jurisdictions that led their side of the audits, so they knew exactly what documentations to send to the auditors, which made it fairly easy to conduct and to complete as well. That being said, that concludes my report, and I can answer any questions you may have. This is an accept and file, so there is no approval process. It's basically informational only.
Okay. And I appreciate the report. One of the things I noted in a consent item where we're transferring about 300,000 of that 500,000 carryover is really the 70 grand a year that goes to the ITOC, and they use about 20 or 25 of it.
Right. It's actually 2 parts. It's the accumulated balance for the NVTA admin. So there's a small balance there, but it's also the balance for the ITOC for their accumulated balance. What's going to happen when we convert over to Measure U, the ITOC as a department pretty much goes away. It gets folded into the NVTA admin. So this is just an accounting method to transfer those cash balances from the old ITOC department to the NVTA admin department, and they will be used for Measure T expenses going forward, since Measure T, the financials will not go away. The expenses will not go away. We'll just have two measures concurrently. We're going to wind down the old Measure T, and then we're going to wind up the new Measure U.
Okay, great. Thank you. Sorry for getting into the weeds on that.
No, no
but-
problem.
All
So,
right. Are there any questions from the board? Yes, we'll start with Vice
I'm
Chair.
sure this is an error, but I don't know for sure. This chart showing the different revenues, I noticed that Yountville and Calistoga have the.
they have the
exact
same,
amount.
so
Talk
for
about
Measure,
that. Maybe it's not an error.
it's not an error.
Okay.
For Measure T, it's the same formula for both Calistoga and Yountville. I think it's 2.7% of revenues.
Okay.
That changes with Measure U because now, Calistoga and Yountville have different percentages going forward. But for
Okay.
the current Measure T, it's a fixed formula for each jurisdiction. And it happens that Calistoga and Yountville have the same percentage.
Understood. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's what I thought it was. Thank you.
Director Alessio.
Yes, thank you. I know this is first presented to the Tax Oversight Committee, the NVTA, what's it called?
I
I
talk,
talk.
the ITALK Committee, which is great. I want everybody else to know that we're not the first and only to see this report, that this is part of their duty. And there's a lot of very smart people on that committee, and I thank them for their service. Did they have any questions or concerns?
no, they were
Great.
pretty much speechless, actually.
Perfect. Okay, that's how it normally is when I've attended. It's been
Right.
pretty clean, but
Which is
just
kind of,
provide additional reassurance that there's another level of process
Yeah.
here. Thank you.
Yes, I was at the same meeting, and it's a powerful statement when the answer is there were no concerns, it was a clean audit. Kind of hard to argue after that.
yeah,
So
exactly.
worked out well. Thank you for the comment, though. Any other comments from the board? Then this is just an accept and file, so do we want to go ahead and formally take a motion to accept and file? It seems like.
Chair, I'm not sure if it's necessary. I think my note to you said it may be, but it's not.
Okay, fair enough. Then we will accept that report. Good job. And that actually is the end of our action items. Do we have any future agenda items as it relates? Well, actually, I should have given a public comment. I'm starting to lose my transparency. Anyone in the public that wants to comment on the financial report that you just heard? Okay, then. Any future agenda items that the board may want to bring up as it relates to the taxing authority? None? Then I will say that we're adjourned at 1:15. Good job. Next meeting is Wednesday, April 16th. All right, one down, one to go. Now we're moving to the Napa Valley Transportation Authority meeting. I will call this meeting to order at 1:16. And still no board members remotely?
None.
All right. Do we need to do a roll call again, or are we good?
I can confirm roll call from the preceding NVTA-TA meeting with also attendance from our PCC Director, Deborah Smith. We have a quorum.
Perfect, thank you. Adoption of the agenda. We have some consent items, some business items, a closed session in the middle of everything, just to make sure everybody is available. If there's no objections, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda. All right, Amber, thank you.
Second, Doring.
Manfree and Doring, moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, perfect. Public comment. Anybody wishing to comment on an item? There we go. Come on up.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Michael Baldini. You're appointed to, one of your two appointed, along with Terry Scott, to the Metropolitan Transportation Commission.
Could you?
Policy Advisory
Yeah.
Council. You want me to sit down?
Or you could take the mic and stand, but we want you to talk into the microphone.
Thank you. And along with that, I serve along with Ashley Tinscher here on the Citizens Advisory Committee to the Napa Valley Transportation Authority. So just to, just to let you know, I'm there and also at the council meetings. So you need a ride share or carpool, let me know.
Okay.
Works both ways.
Perfect.
So I also live, work here in Napa and work at Trefethen where I missed some of you, but I'm there. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you for coming down and making that introduction.
Michael?
All right, we have another public comment. Good.
Sure. My name is Ashley Tencher. I'm a member of the CAC committee as well. And I see that we don't have a better time for me to make one point to this group. When you entertain your retreats and your thoughts about the very important upcoming countywide transportation plan change, I want to commend Rebecca for finding a perfect metric for the challenges that we've been facing about good communication for enhanced rider experience. And the metric is called the vehicle positions completeness by day. There's no new work, there's no new money. It's a metric that's available. It's the percentage of time that a bus in a day is visible at its time point stops. So it's every time point stop for all the buses that run for NVTA, and it is an excellent metric, and I'm glad that it's already being generated. So when it's your time to determine the performance metrics for transit part of this agency, please add this metric so that we can go to work on improving it. Thank you.
Thank you. Just as a spoiler alert, what's the current metric? Do you know offhand?
On-time performance is what we use, and it's something that we have to report still to the feds and to MTC. But this is a really good qualifier. The difference between on-time performance is we give some leeway. I think it's 5 minutes on late still allows us to meet the on-time performance. And I think it's 1 minute sharp, which is our larger problem is drivers getting to the stop before they're supposed to. And also, it's timed stops, which are, it's not every stop. We don't have time stops at every stop, so I don't know.
Yes, I just want to make clear that I'm recommending an additional metric.
Right.
I recommend this one, which is different than on-time performance. On-time performance can't be any better than the vehicle position completeness.
Okay.
So, thank you.
All right. And as a data nerd, the idea of having two metrics, especially if it doesn't cost us anything, I'm sympathetic to.
All
So
right.
very good. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. Vehicle position completeness by day. Great. Any other public comments? Then I will move to chairperson, board members, and others. I don't have any comments. Any board members have comments? Then we'll move to MTC. Director Manfred, do you have any comments?
I do. I've now attended a meeting,
All right.
so we can talk about it. So the MTC Executive Office has put together a team to monitor federal executive actions such as executive orders, policy directives, and funding cuts and layoffs so that they can work on developing strategies in response and also so that they can keep their stakeholders and partners informed. So that is something. We also awarded 1.6 million to PlaceWorks for support and a project that'll look at how to support local transit operators in transit-oriented developments. 1.33 million to American Canyon from the Housing Incentive Program for pavement rehabilitation on some roads that are in pretty bad shape there. There's the Vine Trail section from St. Helena to Yountville wasn't funded in this funding cycle, but it hopefully will rank high in the next one. And I understand this body is doing some work to advocate for that. Thank you, Kate, for the update. And MTC adopted principles for the transportation revenue measure that will be moving through the current legislative session. And they provided a really long and detailed explanation of all of the polling results. They were looking at all the different ways that this might pass regionally to fund transportation needs, especially transit. And the upshot was that a citizens initiative is the most likely to pass. So that's what they're looking at and partnering with other, other entities to get that done. And then we've got ongoing funding and ridership struggles for transit, which isn't really news, but it was a point of note. And then just as a related thing, Highway 37, MTC has had a lot of turnover. I think half of the members are new right now, and some key leadership has been replaced with new members. And so there's been a big change on that board. Likewise, the Highway 37 Oversight Board Committee has also had a whole lot of turnover. I think there's only 2 original members and 3 with any long-term standing on that body. So there's been a lot of change in regional transportation boards lately. And from the Highway 37 Committee, I guess I just want to note that there was a move by tribes to protect cultural uses in the Highway 37 corridor and potentially to object to the full take of endangered species with the project, which is right now how it's shaping up. So there's some new opposition there. Thank you.
Thank you. How does that, I guess in the legislative section, Assembly
I'm going to
Person
talk
Wilson?
about
Yeah.
Wilson's bill.
Okay.
Yeah.
All righty, good. All right, well, thank you for that report. And just for clarification, I think the $1+ million that American Canyon got was because we had our housing element exceeding and all that, or?
Right. It was part of the housing incentive program, but this was an actual allocation that you received for a specific project as part of the overall award.
Just wanted everybody to know we earned it the old-fashioned way. We built houses. So, okay. All right, MTC's out. How about ABAG? Do we have anyone from ABAG that can give us an update? Oops.
I go to my first meeting tomorrow, so I'll have something next time.
All right, perfect. Okay, then we'll move, oops. All right, that covers that. Executive Director's update.
Great. Good afternoon, directors. So sorry for the mess. The Saskville Gateway Transit Center improvements are very much underway. The project will build out the first floor, adding 2 offices, a conference room, additional space for transit operators, a shower and restroom facility. And we are also adding a wellness room on the first floor. And then on the second floor, we're adding 2 stationary booths for conferencing to ensure privacy and soundproofing. We have a lot of cubicles where people sit, and our whole model of doing business now has changed significantly since the pandemic. And we're also doing some soundproofing in various areas to cut down on noise. The project is expected to be done late spring, early summer, and we will give you a grand tour. Maybe we'll even have a silly ribbon cutting for it. Staff and board announcements. I'd like to welcome our newest staff member, Jimena Espinosa. Jimena will be working in the planning marketing area, primarily filling the role of Spanish language outreach coordinator. Jimena most recently worked at the County of Napa in the position of staff assistant district aide. And prior to that, she worked as a campaign coordinator for Sonoma County Supervisor David Rabbit. Jimena attended Grand Canyon University and received a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration with a minor in communications. And welcome, Jimena. We're really happy to have her on board. So a lot of outreach and meetings over this last month, and those also coming up. But the agency held an open house for the countywide active transportation plan on February 26th at Napa Valley College. There were 85 members of the public attending, and also I just wanted to send out a thank you to Director Narvaez, who's not here unfortunately, but he attended the event, and we really appreciated that. Staff also participated in the Napa County Office of Education and Napa Unified's 8th grade career day, which included many loud and enthusiastic students. Kudos to NVTA staff members, Emily Cherrier and Jimena Espinosa, who braved the entire event. I lasted 90 minutes. I attended the Transit Transformation Task Force meeting. You'll recall that's a state assembled task force, and I was appointed by the secretary. That was meeting number 9 that we attended on March 11th. The task force delved into the proposed structure of the report that's due to the legislature this October. New transit operating funding was a key topic, as were transit first policies and urban design to ensure transit can easily operate on our city's streets, and accessible service coordination and operations. So our next meeting is on April 25th at MTC in San Francisco. Since the beginning of the pandemic and in support of initiatives kicked off by the Blue Ribbon Task Force, you'll recall that this committee was convened by MTC to address operational and funding challenges of the Bay Area's transit operators. Small transit operators around the region have met every Tuesday on Zoom to exchange ideas and share information. This past week, NVTA was very pleased to host the region's small operators at the transit facility. Where we received a lot of interest about how we approach the design on our facility and how we address the funding needs. So it was, we got a lot of great feedback on our facility. Danielle Schmitz and I attended the State Route 37 Equity Workshop sponsored by Caltrans on March 4th. As you know, the proposed project alternative to improve traffic and to help fund the replacement of the corridor involves tolling. It will also involve deploying alternative transportation such as transit and/or microtransit on the corridor. And the purpose of the meeting was to understand how to reach underrepresented users on the corridor to address their specific needs and to ensure that we are being responsible about how we address the new project. On March 13th and 14th, NVTA staff member Libby Payan and several Transdev staff attended a two-day Transdev corporate training on how to improve the customer experience. Transdev and NVTA worked collaboratively to take an introspective look at the Vine transit system and how to improve the system from the rider's point of view and experience. Libby gained new insight on how riders view our system and is now busy evaluating some of our policies and practices to make transit work better for our community. In your packet is a list of upcoming outreach events. As always, having NVTA board members at these events provides an opportunity for the public to share their ideas and concerns about transportation in Napa Valley directly with you. And on behalf of staff, we really appreciate your participation. Some key highlights include the Active Transportation Plan Open House in Calistoga on April 2nd from 5:30 to 7:30 at the Community Center. Also, Bike to Wherever Day is coming up again this year on May 16th, and we have already formed the NVTA Bike Committee for the month of motion that the Vine Trail Coalition does every year. And just to remind you, for that purpose, our name is Notorious Valley Transportation Animals. So we're not using the name NVTA in vain. It's a whole separate effort. Let's see. We've also included in your packet a list of safety education campaigns that we are currently promoting. So, and I think that concludes my report.
Excellent. Thank you very much. We are now into the Caltrans update. Here we go. We have
Yeah.
Caltrans rep here.
Yes, yeah, good afternoon, directors of the board. This is Amani speaking from Caltrans. Currently, for the project reporting regarding Caltrans, we have currently 37 active projects. 5 projects are in the initiation phase and 5 in the environmental phase. Both are on track according to the current milestones submitted. For the design, we have 11 projects and some updates on 4 projects. One of them is the pavement rehab for 7 miles in American Canyons with almost 19 million construction capital. The design phase has been shifted to May 2025. And the other 3 projects are bridge projects. One of them is the Turkey Creek Bridge replacement with a shift of the design phase to next month. The second is the Hopper Slough Creek Bridge replacement, again with some shifting of the design development due to review process with the design. And the fourth one is the scour mitigation projects maintenance for No Name Creek Bridge mitigation in Napa County. For construction, we have 16 projects, all are on track, so there is no updates on that. And that's it for me. I conclude my report. I'm happy to take any questions related to any project. Thank you.
Do we have any questions from the board or from the public? Well then, thank you very much for your report.
Thank you.
Right. Now we're moving to our consent calendar. We have a number of consent items for. There's no public objection or request to pull any items. I will entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Just have a couple questions on 9.4, please.
Okay. Then let's go ahead with 9.1, 2, and 3. If I'll
So moved for approval?
Director Alessio moves.
I'll second.
All right. I keep forgetting, I jump between first names and last names. I'm going to be informal. Robin seconds. McKee, okay. Yeah. Any objections? Any, okay. Blown it. Okay, we have a motion and second. All those in favor of approving consent items 9.1, 2, and 3?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, let's talk about 9.4.
So I raised this question earlier, maybe get a little bit more insight on the proposers. We only had one response and I wanted to get a little bit more insight about that. And also just the term of the contract, whether it is sort of our practice to have such a long, what I would consider long-term, but maybe I'm mistaken in this venue. Typically they're like 3 to 5 years for auditors. This one's a 7-year, at least in the municipality. So I wanted to know what the, I could see the advantages and disadvantages of that. Could you just talk through those two issues for me, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So the RFP was published and it did go to 11 California licensed CPA firms that received direct invitations to review the RFP. We know of at least 4 firms that downloaded the announcement and then review the audit. We did reach out to firms that have expressed an interest but did not submit. We received one response, and the response was basically that they didn't have the resources to commit to this for this agency engagement. I also think that there is another issue at hand too, is that we simply are a small government agency. We don't ask for additional audit services. It's basic. It's a financial audit and 2 small performance audits. So we're not considered a high net worth client. And simply that many audit firms have difficulties attracting staff auditors. I remember when I first started here at NCTPA at the time, we had one partner, 1 senior auditor, and 4 staff auditors. We had a team of 5. Now we have 1 senior auditor and 1 staff auditor. We have a team of 2. And our agency, as you all know, we've doubled in size and capacity and just the volume of financial transactions. So it's just a reflection of the current environment of recruiting staff auditors, as well as just keeping their current clients happy with the services that they probably provide at a higher cost than for our agency itself. So that hopefully answered the first question.
Thank you.
The second question is, we chose a 7-year term just because we've had 3-year terms, we've had 4-year terms, we've had 5-year terms. I chose 7 years just because of the continuity factor. You know, we can terminate the contract if we're not pleased with the services at any given time. But I felt that, 7-year term, I think it's 5 plus 2 1-year options. I have to go check back. But to me, that just was, at least from past history and from practice, for our purposes, just provided a continuity of having the same auditor on standby.
I noticed that the partner that's assigned to our jurisdiction, that rotates
Every 5 years. It has to, by law, by California law, it has to rotate every 5 years, rotate out with a different partner.
We don't have any policy with respect to turnover of auditors. Is there any jurisdictional policy that says you have to make a change every so many years, or no?
We don't have an internal policy.
Okay.
It's state law that the audit partner, it could be the same audit agency or audit firm, but the partner has to rotate at least once every 5 years.
All right, thank you for that. You've
To
answered my
provide
questions.
to provide that independence and,
Right.
just a new set of eyes.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions relating to 9.4? Then I'll entertain a motion to approve it.
So moved.
Doring has moved.
Second.
Alessio has seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Okay, now we're going to go into closed